This man spanks his wife for cash.
Spank me, John.
I'm gonna spank you with that.
Yeah, I do. Harder!
After finding a magic teapot that coughs out money when they suffer, the broke couple inflicts pain on each other, printing money like there's no tomorrow. John and Alice are a young couple who love spending quality time together. John works as a sales rep, but he's terrible at it. One day, his boss, Mr. Tudor, lectures him on how to improve.
Think about what we talked about. Productivity, performance, punctuality. The three main pivot points to you recapturing your optimal performance level.
Still, John shifts the blame on the economy and the goddamn Republicans. The irony isn't lost on his boss, though, who appears to be a proud Republican. John quickly tries to talk his way out of the awkward moment, but only ends up embarrassing himself further. Meanwhile, Alice heads off to a job interview but fails to make an impression. She's turned down for lacking experience and a master's degree. Defeated, she returns home, only to be greeted by their smug landlord, Arnie, pounding on their door demanding rent.
It's not due for another 3 days, Arnie.
Well, then I saved his stamp.
When Alice turns to write the check, he starts acting like a horny caveman with a head injury. Proof that brain cells aren't required to collect rent. After handing him the check, Arnie casually implies that shacking up with John is the reason her life peaked in high school. Later on, Alice checks their bank account and finds less than $50 left. With the fridge just as empty, they head out grocery shopping. Trying to stay hopeful, Alice tells John that things will soon get better when suddenly a truck runs into them. Yeah, things will definitely get better. Luckily for them, they're not hurt, but the cops insist on documenting the accident. While waiting, Alice sees an antique shop nearby. She watches as an elderly woman from the store picks up a golden teapot from the ground. Drawn to it, Alice walks into the shop, with John following behind her, wondering what came over his wife. Inside, Alice pretends to be browsing when the old woman spots her. After the old lady walks away, Alice sneaks into a back room, finds the teapot, and is quickly overwhelmed by an unexplainable pull. Without thinking, she bolts out of the shop and jumps into John's car, urging him to drive. Stunned, John realizes his wife just stole something, but Alice is too entranced by the teapot's strange beauty to care. The next day, while grooming herself, Alice accidentally burns her forehead with a curling iron, causing the teapot to shake, which sparks her curiosity. Lifting the lid, she finds a wad of cash inside. Testing a theory, she deliberately does it again, causing the teapot to rattle, and more money appears. She then stumbles onto a chair, and lo and behold, the teapot starts coughing up bills again. Wow! This has got to be the easiest job ever. Meanwhile, John has a meeting with Mr. Tudor, who tells him that he's firing him because he's not a good sales rep. Furthermore, he doesn't smile while making calls. However, John quickly points out that his clients can't see his face, because, you know, phones. But logic clearly isn't part of the job description. As the conversation gets dumber by the second, John spots a pair of kinky red panties lying on his boss's desk and stares at it pointedly. But Mr. Tudor quickly hides it, claiming that it's for his wife and that she has great taste. Sure, man, but we all know it's for his mistress. John tries to salvage his badly bruised ego by asking if anyone else was fired, but he's shocked to hear that he's the first to go. He quickly reminds his boss of his educational qualifications and points out that there are much worse employees in the company, but his boss still defends his actions.
We're letting you go. Do you have anything else to add?
Sorry, son. Looks like your joke about the Republicans didn't rub off the right way. Soon after, John returns home looking dejected, but is surprised when Alice doesn't greet him at the door. He calls out to her, and when he gets no response, he walks into the bedroom and finds her lying there, badly bruised. Alarmed, he asks what happened, and Alice casually says that an intruder broke in. Without hesitation, John grabs the bedside lamp, ready to defend her, only for Alice to burst into laughter and call him her hero. That's when he finally realizes she's just messing with him. After proving she's fine with the finger-to-nose test, Alice realizes it's strange for him to be home this early. When she asks why, John admits he was fired, though he says he'll find something else soon. He hides his face in shame, but Alice reassures him that it doesn't matter. She then shows him the teapot, and as soon as John touches it, he feels a strange tingle. John thinks he might be having a panic attack, but before he can react further, Alice apologizes for what she's about to do next and slaps him across the face. Stunned, he stares at her and demands to know what's going on, but Alice just lights up with excitement and shows him the wad of cash that just came out of the teapot.
You're giving me money so you can hit me?
No, I'm not. The teapot is.
When John accuses her of stuffing it in there herself, Alice kicks him in the balls, and the teapot starts spitting out money like a broken ATM. While John groans in pain, Alice casually points out that that really must hurt. Yeah, no shit. Still skeptical, John asks where the money is really coming from, and Alice gets ready to hit him again. Later, John sits at the table, sore and confused, while Alice gathers the money. He tells her to stop collecting it, but she's energized by the idea of finally getting ahead. John says this isn't a real job, but Alice has already started dreaming big. A new house, a better life, and the possibility of never having to work again.
It's a gift from the gods, John.
The next morning, Alice wakes up to find both John and the teapot gone. There's a note beside her that reads, "It would have ended badly." She screams, realizing John may have already sold the teapot, or worse, tried to return it. Meanwhile, John is already outside the old woman's antique store, but surprisingly, it's shut down. He then takes the teapot to an antique roadshow. When asked about its origin, he lies and says it came from a garage sale. As the host presses for more details, John says he believes the teapot has passed through the hands of many important people, all of whom are now dead. That part leaves the host speechless. Suddenly, this isn't just an antique, it's a cursed object. The host then estimates the teapot's value at $5,000. Meanwhile, a middle-aged Asian man sees the teapot on TV and quietly marks John's location on a map. Back home, John and Alice make a promise to stop using the teapot if it starts getting out of control.
We make our million and we stop.
Afterwards, they start pushing the limits, testing just how far they can go to keep the money flowing. Soon enough, they're doing everything from matching tattoos to stashing stacks of money in the toilet. Alice suggests that they take the money to the bank, but John reminds her that they have no way of explaining this to the IRS. Well, they'd probably believe it's honest money if you show them the teapot and perform for them. John informs Alice that they've made $194,173, and Alice suggests that they round it up to $200K tonight. When John asks how they're supposed to do that, Alice just winks and leads him to the bedroom. When he gets there, he finds her in a revealing outfit, asking to be spanked.
Spank me, John.
I'm gonna spank you with that.
Yeah, I do. Harder!
After a few more taps, John calls the whole thing
Crazy.
insane
Sorry.
and stops midway. Desperate to make the teapot work, Alice switches places with him and starts spanking him instead. She keeps going, dancing to the radio and hitting him every chance she gets. John wonders where Alice got her dance moves from, and she reveals that she had these moves before she met him. John quickly reminds her that they met in high school and asks if she was a stripper in 8th grade, but Alice ignores him and continues the debauchery. Meanwhile, their newfound passion ends up scaring neighbors who pass by at night. The next morning, the rich couple heads over to Alice's mom's house for lunch, where Alice's mother and sister grow suspicious of their sudden wealth, knowing full well that John's salary alone could never fund such a lavish lifestyle. Trying to play it cool, John makes small talk with Alice's brother-in-law, Joe, asking if he's still working for nonprofits. Joe then launches into a ramble about saving tree snails, but John simply tells him that tree snails are delicious with butter. As tensions build, Alice's mom bluntly asks if John has been pimping her out, but John jokes around, suggesting that Alice should do it, since she's got many tricks up her sleeve.
Yeah, why aren't you on the street turning tricks, you little slut?
John then jokes about their source of income, but Alice's sister, wanting to break the tension, asks Alice if they're finally going to have a baby now that they seem to be doing so well. But Alice simply laughs at the idea. Back in their home, the couple continue to enjoy their lives until a knock on their door shatters their illusion of security. To their shock, 2 Jewish men barge in, attack John, and demand the teapot.
Where is the teapot?
They claim it belonged to their grandmother, who stole it from Hitler himself, and they've now come to reclaim it. Thinking fast, Alice hides the teapot under a pillow and coolly lies, saying they had already sold it. When the men demand the money from the sale, she cleverly lets John's beating generate cash and hands it over to the Jews. Satisfied, the men take the money and leave, but the encounter shakes Alice and John to their very core. Determined to learn more, Alice and John head to the library. There, Alice finds a book about the Brass Teapot history. According to the book, the teapot was first found around the time of Christ's crucifixion with powers that can't be explained. While John gets distracted, Alice stumbles upon a page warning about the teapot's dangers. Without hesitation, she tears the page out. She then tells John that the book has a lot to say about the teapot, and he collects it to get a better understanding of it, but when it gets to the line about the consequences of having the teapot, he finds out that the page has already been ripped off. He questions it, but Alice blames it on the book's age. She quickly shifts the mood, suggesting they just go enjoy their hard-earned cash. But John isn't so eager. After all, he's the one who took the beating the last time. Alice then seals the deal by promising him a steamy hot session in the library. Not long after, the two are seen checking out a luxury car in outfits that probably cost more than their old house. They also buy a mansion in an upscale neighborhood and dive headfirst into the high life. Parties, outfits, expensive taste, the full package. At one gathering, Alice's old friend Payton comments on how amazing she looks, but can't hide her shock that Alice managed to buy the house next door. Another familiar face, Louise, walks over and compliments Alice on her glow-up, asking if she got her dream job. But Payton stylishly mocks Louise, just to keep things catty. Meanwhile, John is sipping drinks with Louise's husband when there's a knock at the door. He answers it and finds a man named Dr. Ling, who introduces himself as a member of the Theosophist Society. He claims to be a specialist in ancient artifacts, specifically teapots.
We have interest in antiquities, specifically teapots.
Alice quickly joins John at the door and immediately blocks Ling from coming inside. She checks to see if he brought backup and seems relieved when he says he's alone. John then asks for a moment alone and pulls Alice aside, trying to convince her to hear the man out. But Alice questions why someone would be this obsessed with a teapot and reminds John that if they give it up, their whole lifestyle ends. John turns back to Ling and lies, claiming they already donated the teapot to a museum. Ling then warns them that they're in serious danger, but Alice yells at him to get off their property. As their guests start paying attention, John quickly plays it off, joking that Alice might be a little too high on cookies. Later, Alice and John are out for dinner with Payton and her husband. Mid-meal, Payton's husband starts rambling about their old dog Casper, who vanished while he was out of town. Payton snaps, clearly offended by the not-so-subtle accusation that she had something to do with it. Before the tension can thicken, a waiter shows up with the bill. Payton's husband reaches for it, but Alice quickly insists they'll cover it. Payton asks if she's sure, after all, that wasn't exactly cheap vodka they drank. The moment Alice and John glance at the total, their eyes nearly fall out of their sockets. And that, kids, is why you let the adults handle the bill. John and Alice start arguing about who has to go into the bathroom, since one of them has to get creative to make the money.
I went last time.
I went yesterday.
John eventually loses the argument and is forced to go. Alice then hands him her bag, claiming that he needs to apply hemorrhoid cream. One night, Alice asks John when the profits from his vodka investment will start coming in, and he tells her that he might have made a bad prediction. Well, good thing they still have their magical little moneymaker. Out of nowhere, their former landlord, Arnie, drunkenly stumbles into their mansion, completely floored by how rich they've become. Alice opens the door, but before she can react, he barges in, rambling about how unrecognizable their life looks now.
How are the world's two biggest losers living in this neighborhood, right?
Just then, he spots the teapot and grabs it before running outside. John chases after him, but Arnie fools around and throws the teapot in the middle of the road. He then enters his truck and runs over it, while the couple screams helplessly. When they rush to inspect the damage, they're shocked to find that it doesn't have a single scratch on it, but something about this still felt off. How did the teapot survive being run over by a truck without even a scratch? Unable to shake the unease, they visit Dr. Ling for answers. He confirms that the teapot is indestructible, and the only way to truly get rid of it is to hide it in such a way that no one can ever find it. Ling then shares the object's dark history. The teapot has passed through the hands of both the kindest and most terrible people in history until disappearing from a Nazi concentration camp during the Third Reich.
Our founder, Dr. A.K. Bhardwaj, learned that in the wrong hands, it could cause great harm.
He warns them that even the smallest trace of evil inside a person will be exploited by the teapot and eventually lead to their destruction, but Alice, stubborn as ever, insists that they are good people and will never lose control. Later, Alice goes to the mall with Payton, where they run into Louise, Alice's old friend, who's now working a second job to make ends meet. The vibe is painfully awkward. Ever since Alice got rich, she's ghosted Louise without a word.
You ladies are in luck, because we're having a two-faced special today.
At night, the two Jews who attacked them before break into their house again, this time to steal all of their cash. They mock John and Alice for being amateurs, laughing at their poor attempt to hide the money in the toilet tank. They then confess that they aren't after the teapot. They know all too well the pain and madness it brings. After all, they watched it destroy their grandmother. Instead, they've chosen to profit off of John and Alice's suffering. The teapot does all the work, and they just reap the rewards. John and Alice try to stop them, and a fight breaks out. During the chaos, John is knocked out, leaving only Alice to deal with the intruders. Meanwhile, one Jew is drawn to the teapot and touches it, but his brother snaps him out of it. Before leaving, they land one last blow, knocking Alice out cold as well. The next morning, John wakes up groggy and bruised. He rushes to check on Alice, only to see she's more concerned about the stolen cash than her injuries. As if things couldn't get worse, the teapot stops producing as much money as before. After enduring so much pain, John and Alice finally decide to seek help. They head to a bar, and John zeroes in on the biggest, meanest motherfucker in the room, clearly hoping to get his ass kicked. He walks up and grinds on the big guy to provoke him, but weirdly enough, the big guy seems to enjoy it. Caught off guard, John panics and bitch slaps him. That finally does the trick, and Hulk here gives John the beating of his life. The next day, Ling appears out of thin air and warns John that the teapot is negatively affecting both him and Alice.
You will have nothing left. What then?
Meanwhile, Alice discovers that the teapot reacts to anyone's pain, causing them to find people in pain at MMA fights, the tattoo parlor, and even the hospital. But with every dollar, Alice loses a piece of her soul to the teapot. One day, Alice is driving with John beside her. Lost in thought, she muses that the world is full of suffering. As a homeless man crosses the street, Alice, almost entranced, presses down on the gas pedal, trying to run him over. John yanks the wheel at the last second, saving the man's life. Alice then accuses John of holding them back, but he argues that she's losing herself. During their argument, Alice realizes that the teapot also generates money from emotional pain. To test her theory, she cruelly insults John.
Some men are destined to fail, John. You're one of them. I think the lottery exists because of guys like you. You know, deep down, luck is the only way they're ever going to overcome their spineless, clueless, hopeless personalities.
Sure enough, the teapot rewards her, but at what cost? Encouraged, Alice asks John to hurt her emotionally. He resists at first, but eventually gives in, confessing that he once kissed their neighbor Payton and still thinks about her sometimes, even when he kisses Alice. This quickly becomes their new game, exchanging painful truths to make more money. Their relationship almost falls apart after Alice reveals that she once let Arnie go down on her.
Sorry.
John, stunned and furious, heads straight to Arnie's place. He threatens to saw his meat off, but Arnie headbutts him instead. He then spots the teapot in Alice's bag, still in perfect condition after being run over, and holds it in disbelief. But Alice quickly grabs it from him, and they leave. One afternoon, they realize they could make even more money by exposing the dark secrets of their neighbors. Soon after, they visit Payton's house and hand her husband a box. Inside is their dead dog. With zero remorse, Alice reveals the truth. Payton had carelessly left him in a hot car last summer and never even noticed. Her husband stares at the box in disbelief, then turns to Payton, demanding answers, but she can only stammer in shock before slamming the door in the couple's face. After that, they head to John's old workplace and expose his boss's affair by showing his wife the receipts, literal photos and all. The emotional fallout is immediate and just enough to satisfy the teapot. Without a second thought, John walks away, leaving the devastated woman behind like she was just another errand. Hoping for an even bigger payday, Alice contemplates exposing her sister's devastating secret, that her first child was conceived with another man, not her husband. But suddenly, Alice's conscience pricks her, and she doesn't go through with it. When they return home, John reassures her that she did the right thing and that she's still a good person, but Alice disagrees. She believes her regret is holding them back and proposes one last stunt. She suggests they rid the world of a PDF file or drug dealer, earning a fortune while doing society a favor. John is horrified to hear this, but gives in. They even dig a grave in preparation, but at the last moment, John pulls out. He then asks what if Alice had to choose between him and the teapot, but she says nothing. Devastated, John turns to Ling, who informs him that the only way out is for Alice to willingly give up the cursed teapot. That night, John pleads with Alice to return the teapot, or he'll start to believe he can fly.
Just promise me that you'll end it.
She agrees, but when she glances at the teapot, John realizes she's full of shit, so he rage quits. He lands with a thud, and Alice rushes down, realizing the depths of her mistake. She cries over John, who regains his consciousness, and asks if she'll give the teapot to Ling. Alice agrees to give up the teapot, and they soon head to bed. However, later that night, Arnie breaks into their home and steals the teapot.
We have to deliver it to Ling ourselves. We have to fix it.
Funny how the second they try to be decent humans, the teapot packs its bags and leaves, like it knew better than to wait around. The next day, John and Alice try to retrieve the teapot and meet Arnie, who's been making money all night long. He plans on killing them for more, but just when he's about to shoot Alice, John disarms him with a rolling pin before going into a long rant about being a man.
I've gone to the dark side, and I have no fear.
In the middle of it, Arnie's girlfriend suddenly joins in on the fun. Just when we think they're goners, our favorite Jews burst in, aiming their guns at Arnie and his girl. They threaten to shoot them if they don't hand over the cursed object.
Give me the teapot, and I might let you live.
Give him the teapot. Give it to him.
Put your gun down, redneck, and give us the teapot.
As bullets start flying, John and Alice quickly hide in a corner. Fortunately for them, greed and violence take care of their enemies. After things calm down, John and Alice grab the teapot and all the money it had generated. They find Dr. Ling waiting outside for them and drop the bag of money before finally returning the teapot to him.
Kings, queens, dictators, priests, peasants, and generals. Thousands before you have held it. So few have had the strength to let go. Thank you.
Wait, did these guys just abandon all that free money? Later on, Alice's friend Louise is shocked when she finds a check of $250,000 from Alice in her mailbox. She shares the good news with her husband, and they both scream for joy. It turns out that John and Alice didn't abandon that big old bag of cash after all. Instead, they sold their house and are now driving to Mexico in their old car to start a family. On the other end, Ling throws the teapot into the ocean, where it will never again be touched by another man or woman.